Yeah, there. Where's Tessa?
She went to bring some more snacks.
Okay, we probably don't need more snacks.
No, like she bought some snacks for today's ES,
I
but
see.
it got cancelled, so she's bringing those
Yeah.
over.
Should
Uh,
we start though?
yeah. So I can start introducing you guys. Hi, the Zoom participants. Can you hear me? I hope I'm audible, but let's start. So we have our AAAR presents career panel, internships and fellowships during graduate studies, and we have our four speakers. This is Su Lin, this is Erin M, and this is Lin Guo, and we also have Tessa Clarizio who is coming right now. So we'll start. So first, we'll start with brief experiences from each one of us, our panelists, and then we'll open the floor to some questions and answer session. Is that okay? Okay. So who wants to go first?
Let's go down.
Yeah. So then we can start.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Um, my name is Sue, and my current role is a part-time sustainability analyst at UIUC. So, what that means is I'm now leading the development of a new sustainability program for industry professionals. So, this program aims at equipping professionals with knowledge and skills to manage and implement like strategies for an environmental responsible business and also sustainable solutions. So just to give you a taste of my daily life, so one example of my daily work is like developing programs roadmap, positioning, and marketing strategy via like competitor analysis or user interviews. And I really enjoy this opportunity because it's kind of the great combination of my skills and passion. My work experience is mainly about marketing and product management, and my career passion is to build sustainable business and or helping more business to be sustainable. So I feel like this sustainability analyst role really highly leveraged my experience in marketing and product management, which got applied in the academia environment. So this is a brief introduction of my current role. If you uh, want to know more details about the role or the program itself, feel free to ask questions or just type whatever you want to know in the chat. I read how like how much time do I have, or is like briefly go through and then come back?
For panelists.
So I keep talking for 10 minutes.
We can go back and forth.
Yeah, it's up to you guys. I feel like you guys can. Yeah.
I can go. I'm Erin. So I'm a PhD candidate in Hannah Horitz's research group right now. So my internships that I'll be speaking about are through the National Center for Atmospheric Research, or NCAR, which is a national lab sponsored by NSF. So my first internship was called the NCAR Earth System Science Internship, or NESI for short. Right now, I think it's only available for undergraduates, but at the time they were allowing graduate students as well. So this program basically partnered me with a scientist at NCAR, where she kind of had a project idea for me that we carried out throughout the summer. So it was very much a research focused internship. But I did get to experience a lot of other things. They had professional development workshops every week for the students that were both undergraduate and graduate, that were really helpful. There were diversity, equity, and inclusion workshops in that, leadership workshops, and all sorts of other things. And then also just the opportunity to kind of network with other scientists at NCAR was really valuable. I met a lot of scientists I probably wouldn't have otherwise, and heard a lot about research that I didn't even know was being conducted. So that was really exciting. It was pretty early on in my PhD experience. So it was a really good way to kind of catapult me into my studies. So I would really recommend the internship for undergraduate students for sure, especially if you're interested in going into graduate school after. And then the next internship I did was the graduate visitor program. which is a little bit different because you're proposing a research project to carry out at NCAR with that project or with that internship. So you find the mentor that you think would be best suitable for the research that you're interested in. I matched with someone in the Global and Climate Dynamics lab at NCAR, and we kind of worked together to come up with a project idea, which I proposed in my application for GVP, and they accepted. So the internship is very much focused on the research that you'll be conducting in graduate school, whether that's a master's or PhD program you're in. And it really helped contribute to my dissertation as a PhD student. It'll be a chapter in my dissertation. So with that internship, it was a lot of similar opportunities with, oop, sorry, there was echo there. I think it's still there. You have to mute yourself. Okay, yeah, sorry. So yeah, it was a lot of similar opportunities outside the research realm, I guess, for that internship. So a lot of networking with scientists, which later on in my PhD, I'm finding is really valuable to know people in the field, and workshops and a lot of seminars where I got to listen to other scientists' research at NCAR. So yeah, it was a really great opportunity. Both of them were. We can switch.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Lin. I'm also a PhD candidate working in a Professor Tessum group, and I will talk about my past two internships, the last summer and this summer. The internship in last summer was taken in the startup company called Deepgram, and the role was called research intern, but it's more like machine learning engineering internship. Yeah, and there I was working on a project which is developing a conversational AI bot because the birth of the ChatGPT, and that company was doing the automatic speech recognition business before, and they want to incorporate the natural language processing with their business. And with that, we were starting from the existing framework, like and doing fine tuning on the pre-trained large language models. And with that, we built a very good chatbot, first towards the inside, like answering questions for the employees. And also, we were processing some data from outside. It's an in-house data, which is consists of the conversation between speakers and meetings, and also phone calls. And we were developing some capabilities for the model to do speaker coaching, and also summarization, some sentimental analysis, something like that. And I was working with in the internship. You have a mentor and also a manager. In the research group, they are both PhDs. The manager was from MIT, and the mentor was from Georgia Tech. And they will assist you in your project, and you have one-on-one meeting every week with the manager, and also you will work closely with your mentor on the progress. And the second internship this summer is taken in Visa research. The Visa research, the credit card, it's not credit card company, is doing a payment network for the credit cards and also debit cards, like MasterCard. Yeah, and they have the very large research group. Like they have several offices in California and also in Austin, Texas, and also in Atlanta. I was working in Austin office, and that team was more application based instead of paper based, which means we are not aiming to publish paper, but developing some applications based on existing framework. And there, I was also working on a large language model fine tuning to build a payment foundation model, which will deal with transaction discerning and also fraud detection, and also answering some basic questions about the company rules and finance. And there, I also had a mentor and manager I was working closely with them. And I also have a buddy. The buddy is very specific to the Visa company. they were having that role to assist you in the daily work life, but not technically. Yeah, I think those two internships are very helpful in my future career, but not very helpful in my research because our research is mainly about the environmental engineering, and my research was about sort of modeling for the atmospheric chemistry. Yeah. By the way, we can use some machine learning techniques we learned from the research in those internships. And also my future career goal is to become a software development engineer or machine learning scientist in the industry. So that's why I was taking that internship. And after the internship, they will give you a review. They will set up several goals or OKRs before start the internship, and also they will give you the objectives, and you need to start thinking the ways you want to solve it. And after the interview, they will give you some rating. And if it's close to your graduation, like if you're graduating next year, they may give you some, because they will give you the written offer for the full-time job, maybe. Yeah. And if not, they may give you the return internship role for that. Yeah. I think that's basically from my side. And there are some questions from the forums like how to apply for an internship. I would say I will tell what I know about the SDEs and MLEs. And first you need to tailor your resume, which is good to be close to the role description. And also for the interviews, it's better to practice your coding. For SDEs, you need to know very well about the data structure and algorithms. And for the MLEs, you need to know both the data structure and algorithms, and also the machine learning algorithms. And sometimes they require us to know the SQL. Like you need to write some basic SQL script, and also some algorithm questions. I mean, it's not only about coding, but also about the algorithms, like which algorithm is better for this question. Yeah, and after that, that's for the preparation, and about how to search the opportunity, you can check the website of in LinkedIn, and also the career website, and also Handshake, and so that's a very good source. And the career fair may be useful, but it actually didn't bring any opportunity to me. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's actually from my side. Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Tessa Clarizio. I'm a fifth-year PhD candidate in Hannah Horowitz's group, and I will be talking to you about the Policy and Research Legislative Fellowship Program today. So this is a program ran through the university, through the Center for Social and Behavioral Science. And the goals of the program are to leverage the research expertise of UIUC graduate students to help local legislators develop evidence-based policy. So it provides UIUC graduate students with experience connecting research to real world policy. And it kind of depends on the project that there is, or what legislators you're paired with, like how much that relates to your own research, but I'll go into that later. So this program is relatively new. It started in summer 2022. I participated in it the academic year, fall 2023 to 2024. It's kind of funny to think like there's always been a CE graduate student like part of this program since the inception of this program, which is cool to think about because, you know, policy spans so many different areas, but it's really great to see that the local area and local legislators are so invested in things that are relevant to us as civil and environmental engineers. So in the past, I think Dalton Stewart did the program, Mia Renna, me, and now Laura Gray is participating in the program. So how it works is it covers up to 50% of your appointment, like as an RA for either the summer, the academic year, or both. They really want you for like the whole year, like starting in the summer and the academic year. But if you can only do one or the other, that's okay. But they really do like it with the whole year because it 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 can take some time to build up the momentum on the different projects. So the longer you're able to like stay in that role, it tends to just work better and you can get some better output. There's programming throughout the year to help support, like as engineers, we aren't necessarily super familiar with policy or how that works. So there's programming throughout the year to kind of help support that education. So there's a policy summit, there's workshops on topics like policy communication, data visualization, and cost benefit analysis. They have bi-weekly check-ins where you check in with the other fellows to hear about the projects that they are working with. And then they also organize a trip to Springfield so that you can see the legislature in session. So a bit more about my experience. So I was placed in District 104. District 104 encompasses parts of Champaign and Vermilion County. The main like urban areas part of it would be Danville and Rantoul. There's some parts of Champaign and Urbana and Savoy that are kind of part of District 104, but mostly the university is its own district, and this other one is more like Rantoul, Danville, etc. So I was paired initially with State Representative Mike Marin to work on communication and increasing accessibility about solar energy opportunities. And then Mike Marin left office in December, and Brandon Schweizer was appointed in his place for the second part of my internship, and I worked on communicating and outreach on electric vehicle incentive policy. So this meant doing a lot of like outreach, like presentations at the library, at Rotary clubs, just various community meetings in these spaces. And my final output was creating like a policy document, or what's called a white paper, documenting these incentives for solar energy and also EV charging stations. Yeah, so yeah, that's the gist of it. I can go into more detail if there's questions, but I think the application period for this fellowship is opening relatively soon. I believe there is an information session coming up, so you can just Google Policy and Research Legislative Fellowship, UIUC, and the page should come up. Yeah, they might have changed the application timeline, but I want to say I applied over winter break and then got notified a little bit later because in like May, because I was starting in the fall. So I was notified later, but if you were starting in the summer, you would be notified sooner. Yeah, so if you have any questions, happy to answer them.
Thank you so much, panelists. So we have heard from our panelists briefly about their experiences. Before we jump into the question and answer session, I would urge everyone to grab some snacks, please, from that table. Feel free to get the fruits, chips, Coke, everything is ours. And also we brought some from ES. So please feel free to grab some snacks. And we do have some questions from the registration form, and we'll also open the floor to the Zoom participants and the participants here later.
Is there questions in the meantime? Go down.
Yeah, we'll just grab some snacks and we'll like start a more like a discussion session now.
Are we able to take it to HU? Next week? Yeah. How about the hotel?
Hotel I already
Oh.
finished that.
Oh, you said you booked the Airbnb, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
You know, this got recorded, right?
oh.
Oh, one thing I want to quickly add is that how I got this job. So basically, because I know that I had business background, but I want to kind of pivot to sustainability focus area. So I try to find some opportunity within school, and I got this job because I just audit one class, and then I talked to the professor about my passion, and next class is about sustainability tools, and I got like more conversation with him. So I told him that I found there are very limited sustainability courses under the like a theme of like business. Like basically no class in the business school is about sustainability, which I think is a big thing that like, the school is missing out there. So I pitched him that, hey, I think university needs to have something like that, not only very strong in environmental engineering, we need someone who cares about the environment from a different field as well, such as like business. And he somehow found this idea very appealing, and he has been thinking about that as well. So he offered me this part-time job to develop this program for the school. So that's how it started. Yeah, it's quite different from going through LinkedIn Handshake or just online program. It's more about try to find a way to get your foot in the door by talking to people, joining some classes, and just genuinely share what you care about and what do you see the opportunities.
That's so cool. Oh, which course was this?
I think it's for undergrads, but the professor is super chill. So if you are interested, it's called Sustainability Tools. So he teaches how to assess the environmental impact for a product or the service. And you kind of start from where the ingredients come from, what's the manufacturing process, and then how this product will be recycled if it's good, or like put it in a landfill. What's the overall environmental impact across its life cycle? So that's what he taught in that class.
Cool. So I guess we can start with some questions we found in the registration form first. So the first question we had was how to apply for internships, which Lynn already answered a little bit, and I guess we already heard from Sue a little bit. So maybe Erin and Tessa, you can tell us about how you found your internship.
Yeah, honestly, it was a lot of researching online, just kind of like I was looking for something to do in the summer that wasn't just sitting on campus. So I was looking around kind of the national labs, I guess, that are relevant to me, like NASA, the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, and NOAA, and then NCAR, of course, there are a lot of different opportunities with NCAR for students. There are a lot of different internships. These were just two that I found that were relevant to me. So I just kind of looked through and saw. I applied to a couple of different ones, and this was the one that I got.
Oh. So for me, I've always had an interest in policy and working in kind of the interface of research, science, and policy. And I heard about this program when my friend Dalton, who I mentioned earlier, he was doing it. So he did it the first year. It was or the first year of the program, and his research was looking at how so it was essentially like Ameren was saying, you know, like, hey, customers, sorry, we're increasing all of our prices. It's because the state is making us incorporate renewable energy, like, you know, and essentially blaming renewable energy prices on some of the like very intense price hikes we saw around that time. It was around the time of COVID or early 2020s. So his research was looking into like, is it actually because of solar power and issues around solar power that we're seeing these price hikes? And his research was able to prove like, no, it's like fluctuations with natural gas or inflation and things outside of like the solar power itself. So he was able to show like, no, these policies encouraging solar energy and other forms of renewable energy are actually having a huge impact, or at least not as big an impact as Amron was claiming on energy prices. And I just thought that was such, and his PhD research was focusing on, I want to say biofuels. So I thought it was really cool for him, or it was like hearing about that was really inspiring to hear about how his research skills and his analytical skills and knowledge was able to help a state legislator who can then go on to advocate for this policy, which will obviously make a big impact when you look at the energy portfolio of the state. So hearing about that work, that's how I got kind of, and talking to him is how I got inspired to apply. So I didn't initially see like it in an email. I'm sure it was in an email or the graduate page somewhere buried down. But that's how I heard about it, and that's why I was inspired to apply.
Yeah, and I have something to add. So for the application of the general role for the SD and MLEs, it's better to have some referral. Like you know someone in the company and they can refer you. And actually you can find someone you don't know in the company to refer, because if the referral is successful, they will get some referral bonus. So yeah, but now that before it was very useful, and nowadays a general referral may not be that useful. So it would be much better if it's from the specific referral to the group. Like that group is having the headcount or the vacant position, which is having a good alignment with your experience. So you have a good chance to be admitted, or yeah.
Yeah, I guess I have another thing to add too, because I was mostly talking about my first internship, but with the graduate visitor program for like, I guess, applying, I kind of worked with my PhD advisor to find a scientist at NCAR that would be suitable to my research, because as a student, I obviously don't have the same connections as my advisor does. So she kind of, had an idea of some people that I reached out to and spoke with myself. And the graduate visitor program is definitely a very different application, because you kind of have to find someone at NCAR that's willing to work with you and sponsor you as a student there. So it is a little bit different, but it seems like a lot of the scientists are very open to like working with students, especially because it's like, they have so much research and so much data, but only so much time. So the amount that they're actually able to do themselves, like they go, oh yeah, like, I'm really interested in looking at that, but I don't have the time. So that would be great, for you to look at. That's kind of what happened with me and the scientists I'm working with. So it's a good opportunity to kind of meet another kind of mentor, but also like kind of get to know a different, field of research a little bit, because I kind of switched around, but yeah.
One quick add-on is when I see the questions about how to choose which internship aligns well with the interest or for that person, I want to remind a reminder, or my suggestion is to be strategic, because there are so many opportunities out there, and each one give you different experience, and then you will have different network, and then something you can get out of it. But like you only have limited time. So the thing I have been trying is that try to know about what kind of roles, industry, or specific area that really interests you. For example, sustainability is a really big topic. So there are several subcategory underneath. For example, is it about renewable energy, or is it about corporate sustainability, or it's about climate change decarbonization? There are so many pillars under this topic. So what specific area that really like interests you is something that I encourage everyone to think about before diving in. There's so much data, information, opportunities out there. And the other thing I did is to try to go through maybe some ideal role online, and then see what kind of job description and saying what kind of requirement or skill or experience are needed. So this internship, if I get it, then I will have relevant skill to help me be more relevant and then have advantage in applying some roles that I really enjoy at the end of the day. So yeah, I feel like there are so many things going on there. Try to dive deeper into what you like, be more specific, and people are can help you even better if you be more specific and can narrow down through some tactics like analyzing the job description and then understand what the eventual outcome that this opportunity can give you may be able to help you clarify. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, that's a neat little trick actually. Like find the ideal job description you want and try to find an internship that matches the description. Good one. So the last question we have from the forms is specifically for international students. So if you can give us any information how your internship or fellowship is applicable for international students, it would be really helpful. I guess most of us here are international students.
I can talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
I have to say that it's very challenging nowadays. I have to be really honest. But that doesn't mean that you cannot get any opportunity. So this sounds cliche, but I feel like you really have to be clear what do you want. For example, for me, I'm trying to pivot from pure like business background to be more sustainability related. So what I need is actually experience and then network. Like this is what I need. So I don't really care about how much money or if it's a paid job or how long or is it full-time or part-time. I have to be really clear what I need right now and what I have advantage and disadvantage at. So for example, my biggest disadvantage would be I'm an international student basically. So if the company wants to keep me in the firm for a longer time, they need to invest in me in order to get like sponsorship and working visa or even green card. So this is something that I cannot change. But something that I can say is that what can I bring to the team as a value added? That's something that may be hard to be replaced by other people. And also what as an international student with different background, different culture can bring new perspective to the team. So think about what cards that you can play and then don't let the things that you cannot change really drag you and then feel too frustrated or stuck about that because that's something that obviously if the policy doesn't change or the situation cannot be changed, then we can do nothing about that. But we still have something to do. And some more practical advice is that I think from business school website, career website, or an external website is called H1B, like career or blah blah blah. I forgot the specific name, but they kind of list all the companies that shows they're more willing to accept or like hire international talents. Maybe you can start from there to be more strategic on how much time you want to spend in companies that have no history hiring international students. And I think that, just think from the side is more tactical. And lastly, I haven't tried it yet, but I heard some people will negotiate like for example, if you apply for working visa, it involves cost. But if you are really good talent and you prove to them, to the company, then maybe you can negotiate when you accepting a final deal is that, okay, can I just pay partial fee by myself? Does that help? Or like, some kind of other ways to negotiate in order to get the opportunity. So it's more like a tactics side, but it's also very important to bear in mind that don't give up until the last chance and then still trying something to do by talking to others and then learning from their experience. But hanging there, I know it's not easy. You have anything to add?
Previously, they're always accepting international students, but nowadays, the job market is much worse since 2022. Yeah, and so many are not And if you apply for a job, it already denotes they're accepting sponsorship. Yeah, and if it accepts, you can apply, and you can use CPT for the internship and OPT for the future full-time job. Now, for the difficulty of the acceptance, the large companies for the large companies, I think there's no much difference between the citizens, green card, or international students because they have the capability to support or sponsor international students, like Meta, Google, or other companies. Yeah, but for the companies which is related to aerospace, military, or some other sectors, they usually require clearance or the citizenship, like SpaceX. Yeah. So
I would say really depends on the roles. For example, some rumor has said that Google may not sponsor.
oh really?
Yeah, or they only sponsor for specific roles. So usually they won't have like 100% sure answer on if they can hire international student or not. They don't want to, restrict their own talent pipeline, but they have like hidden policy and how you can find out by talking to people, talking to hiring manager, talking to human resource and fight. That's how I did.
Oh yeah. All right. I think for the business roles, they may not sponsor.
You see, life is even harder.
And another case is the P&G company which is in Cincinnati, and the role I was applying to this data science role is for the PhD, and they were sponsored for that role, but not the others. Even the basic SDE or some master students in data science for these data scientists, they're not sponsored.
Usually you can find relevant information online on the job application page or job description page, but don't let it stop you, I have to say. If you have time and you really like that job, even they say they don't sponsor, still go for it. Because if they see your resume, they like you, you still have a chance to kind of promote what you can bring to the team. But I would just say that you obviously will have less opportunity if they make it really clear that they don't sponsor. But I still see really, really rare case that they ended up succeed. So
In the fellowship, I did the PRO fellowship. It is open to international students. Actually, the other fellow who's in the same office as me, she was international. And I will say one of the things that the PRLF imparts, because you're doing these presentations and outreach, and you're doing a lot of them to a very different audience. Like it's not an academic audience at all. You really have to kind of work on your communication and your presentation skills and think hard about tailoring your presentations and how you talk to different audiences. So I think that's, valuable for anyone like building your confidence in presentations and being able to tailor it to specific audiences, but especially as an international student, as it was mentioned, where the market is so much more competitive, having these additional communication skills to communicate with any audience will definitely be advantageous.
Yeah, and then for the internships that I did, I'm not really sure about the Earth System Science internship or NESI. I'm not sure if that one's open to international students, but I don't remember meeting anyone that was an international student that was in that program. However, I do remember meeting students in the graduate visitor program that were international. So the national labs are kind of a hub for, scientists all over. So they're definitely very open to that. I think it definitely depends on the role that you're specifically applying to, like has been said for other places. So.
So do we have any other question from the audience here? Or from the Zoom participants?
There's a question down there. Or something. I'm not sure if it's a question.
So thank you all for sharing. I want to ask Lin Guo about, do you think publications or papers on top references about machine learning field are necessary for the internship or career? Thank you.
And that's a very good question. So actually, for some companies, they are requiring that, like the TikTok. There are many machine learning science roles. Yeah, but some are not. So it really depends on the specific work for this role. If they are aiming at publication papers during the full-time job, it's necessary to have some top conference publications. But if not, they're not requiring that. But it's still a good bonus on your resume to get this job. Yeah.
I think I saw recently that Amazon also requires like publication in top ML conferences, even if you just want to apply. Like it's literally written in the application page that mention how many ML conferences you have been to publish to.
Right. For the applied scientist role in Amazon, they're requiring that. Also like Google Research. Yeah. So the role is more research based, and after you enter the company as a full-time employee, you will also work on applications instead of application. But for the companies like Meta, the this research scientist role is more like SDE with a PhD degree. Yeah. And they're not have a very strict requirement on the applications. And I also saw some PhDs from our department going there. Yeah, one or two from transportation engineering. Yeah. Yeah, and also one went to NVIDIA. Yeah, his research was about motivation on the gravels, and yeah, and he took a lot of class. Both of them took a lot of classes in computer science, and they got internship and they got return offer. Yeah, but that was before 2022. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting hopeful, but then okay.
Yeah, but there's still a chance right now because the federal register reduced the interest. So yeah, so I think he'll get a better chance to get into those jobs. And yeah, MLEs may be requiring more. And you can also try the data scientist role. Data scientist role, they may not require that much as an MLE. And your focus will be more on wrangling the data, may or may not working with the algorithms. Yeah.
So any question from the audience here?
So what is the difference between working at school and working outside of school? What is the most biggest difference? Could you explain?
Yes, I can speak for like working while doing research. So my fellowship, the research I did for that was completely separate from the research I do as part of my research group. So I research like atmospheric chemistry and air quality modeling using chemical transport models. But the research I was doing was a lot more like what are the current policies and incentives for these different things, what's up and coming, like making contacts at different state agencies to figure out when the approximate release dates, what are the requirements, and then going out and communicating this information. So it was completely separate. And I did have a 50% appointment. So like the kind of understanding was that I'd be working about 20 hours a week on this. So for me, like I wasn't required to go into the office. I just checked in with I worked mainly with the district office staff and director, and checked in with her once a week. So my hours are pretty flexible. Some weeks it was more, some weeks it was less, just kind of depending on upcoming presentations and outreach. So it was completely different. Like it won't be a chapter in my thesis, but it was still a really valuable experience. I increased my network, I think, in the policy space a lot. And yeah, it was really cool to like be able to kind of apply like research directly into the community, and hopefully it helps people or inspires people to take advantage of state incentives of renewable energy. So it was, quite separate from the academic research, but I still think it was a very valuable experience.
For me, I think the topics are different from my research during the internship, but the routine is similar. Because we are our PhD students, and we were working on some topics, and we're reading paper try to build from existing frameworks or to explore some new ideas. And also we are sharing the ideas in the weekly seminar inside or outside the group, and we were inviting professors from the universities to give some seminars. Yeah, and also we were working closely with mentor or manager or PI. Yeah, you can say that. And also it has a better pay, I would say. And it really helps you to get a full-time job in future. Actually, it's a must right now to have an internship for that tech role. Yeah.
I guess for me, it was different with like UIUC, the graduate visitor program, because it was a part of my dissertation. That was really the only work that I was doing. So I got the experience of like a true 9 to 5, I think, for the first time. And I really liked it. Everyone seems like they have phenomenal work-life balance at NCAR, and like they obviously care about their work, and like, when they're there, they're working hard, but like it's not the sort of vibe where people are like, yeah, I'm staying here every day till midnight working like around the clock, which is, if that's for you, that's great, but like that's not for me. So I really enjoyed kind of that experience, and like seeing kind of the other scientists seem like they have an actual life was really, really nice to see. Especially like in the academic space and universities, I feel like that's not really seen as much. Like professors try to have the work-life balance, but I think that everyone can agree when you look, it's like, is that a work-life balance? I'm not really sure. So it's cool to kind of see that with scientists. And I guess that's for NCAR. I guess I can't speak to other national labs, but for NCAR, it was like that.
My experience it may not be so valid to everyone because I'm relatively new to the role. I started in July, and it's my first time working in academia environment, and I feel like the way that people do things and then make decisions are quite different. For example, in corporate world, you basically are pushed by so many deadlines and then deliverables. You never stop. You maybe you only live for half year and you're already planning for next year. So I usually have 2 or 3 big projects in parallel. That's my life before in corporate, sorry. And in here, like the program that I'm trying to develop is still at the age of getting a reply from school if we get the funding for this program, and basically we are like waiting, and then I'm trying to say I want to do a lot of things. There are so many things we can do, and my professor, like my manager, is supportive, so he hired me to do that preparation work. But basically, nothing except besides me is moving before they got the funding, and the funding, I think after submitting the proposal to getting a result would it takes around 6 months.
Oh.
So the lead time of processing that is longer than expected. Yeah. So I'm still like trying to get what's going on here, but I can kind of feel like the pace may not be so fast, but this can be really case by case. It's just my feeling in the past few months. Yeah.
We still have 5 minutes left.
So throughout your internships and fellowships and career, were there anything that you felt you wish you knew before getting into those? Like from grad school or from undergrad or from just with everybody? Because I believe it's outside of university can be totally different. So maybe I just want to have some idea that what I should expect and what I should prepare. Those type of things.
I can go first. I saw this question few weeks ago. So one thing I would have done differently is that the context is I'm a very goal-oriented person, and I really like set goals and then make plan and achieve that. That's what I enjoy doing. And I feel like when I was 20 years old, I already know that I want to build more sustainable business. I already set a goal, and I kind of just made my own roadmap. So I decided that I want to go in like multinational like companies and then learn how to run an organization in an efficient way. And then after 30, I'm gonna try pivot to doing some sustainability related work, leverage the things I learned. That's my plan that I made when I was 20. But why I feel like it doesn't work as well as I thought because the pivot is much harder than I thought. And how to pivot is something unclear. I didn't think about that much detail when I was young. So when now I'm facing the turning point to pivot, I'm kind of lost and then confused in terms of what I can do. Like based on my resume, you can say that, oh, you are very strong in business, but what's my proof besides my passion that I want to do something in sustainability? So I was a bit, I don't know, too quickly focused on my roles instead of explore different ways and try to be more specific in terms of how to get there. So I know that if you are thinking about something unknown, it's very hard to plan and it's probably out of control as well. But my suggestion is that maybe talk to more people to know about different career paths, different ways how to get there, and just make some assumption like what kind of career that you will enjoy the most and start from there. I think the thing I want to change maybe is that my plan was a bit rough and without the concrete steps, it's hard for me to do that transition, which I didn't know almost like 10 years ago. So talk to more people, try to be more specific and have some assumption, but get more validation along the way. So you will feel more like to the ground and then more solid when you are doing different like changes and get closer to what you want.
I would say like I guess for like the first time I went to NCAR, I didn't feel like I took advantage of all of the opportunities that they were kind of like throwing out there, whether it was like, there was a workshop for this week or there was a seminar. Like, oh, I have too much research to do, I'm just gonna stay in my office. But like really take advantage of those opportunities because they're really valuable. Like if there's a coffee hour like before a seminar, like go to that and like meet all the scientists and really like put yourself out there. Like for me, I get a little shy, especially in those workplace settings when it's like, oh my God, everyone's so intimidating. Like I don't know what to say, but just coming up to someone and saying like, hi, what do you do? Like, what is your research or, whatever has to do with the internship you're in, but really just like being thoughtful about like putting yourself out there, no matter how uncomfortable it feels and taking advantage of those opportunities, I would say.
Actually, I know how hard it is in tax people for this. For the internship last summer, I would say it's better to know the topic you will work on in advance, so you get more prepared. Because the internship is so short; it's just a couple weeks. Yeah, so sometimes it's hard for you to get some solid results. Yeah, especially if you're working on some paper like for this summer. Actually, we started earlier, but it's still hard to get all the results done because the GPU servers are unstable. Yeah, and the large language model takes a lot of time to train it. So.
Okay. I'll echo what everyone else has said, like make sure you network and go out of your comfort zone to meet people at whatever internship, fellowship you do, be strategic kind of in your pathway and ask questions. Trying to think what else I can add. I remember I once did an internship for like a building materials company, so a lot more civil on the side of civil and environmental engineering. And in my interview, they asked me, do you know the difference between concrete and cement? And I did not, so I kind of wish I knew it, but I got the internship anyway, so it was okay. But But yeah, I guess exactly, what has been said here, like, just to ask questions, meet people, network, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And that goes for like conferences as well, like carry it with you to any step in your academic or professional journey.
Okay, so do we have any last questions? Then thank you so much, panelists, for coming today. This was an amazing session, and to be honest, I want to apply for internships this year. That's why I made the whole thing.
Well, there you go. I hope it helped.
Hopefully, it will be helpful. Thank you so much. We learned a lot, and you gave us a lot of time and really, really, really important tips. Actually, I really love the idea, like trying to match your internship with ideal job description, stuff like that. Thank you so much, and I'm definitely interested in all three of your internships. Really.
We'll reach out if you have additional questions.
Definitely. So also to our audiences, if you have additional question, feel free to reach out to us and we'll convey the questions to our panelists. So thank you so much. And with that, we are ending the session today.
Thank you. Which NCAR internship do you want to apply for? Or
I'm only allowed to do the GDP one as international student.